So we're going to talk about destruction of the black community and what are some of the solutions to some of the problems that the black community is facing. So my thing is, what is the black community? Is it just an area that is populated by black people, or do we look at the black community as a whole across the United States of America? And why is the black community plagued with chaos, where you have black women facing off with black men and black men facing off with black women, always arguing, always fighting among each other, while everyone sits back and laughs at us? So I just want to tackle some of the things about the black community, and I think we're so spread out throughout the whole United States that we can't really call us having a black community if we don't own our community, or if we let a group of people kick us out of that community where we're losing our homes because of older generations passing on property to young generations that fight over money, that sells the properties to other people at a lower value. A lot of economics that are destroying, fundamental economics are destroying our communities because we don't use our dollars to reinvest into those communities. And we're just plagued by the nonsense that goes on in these communities. So some of the solutions, how can we combat that and start a new community that is geared towards the beneficial of the black men and black women and children in America? And if you go on YouTube, you just don't see that happening. You don't see that collectiveness of individuals working toward a common goal, even if we all have different views and different politics and different ways about doing things in life. So I just trying to understand this continuing cycle of destruction among our communities, amongst ourselves, when we've been in America for the longest. A huge population of Filipino migrants. I think back in the 90s they were. I was just a little kid at the time, and they were immigrating all through the coast of San Francisco and Daly City and towards the West Coast and throughout California. And now to this day, I can go to their community and I can see malls that are built specifically for them. So what are we drinking? What are we eating that makes us confused about how come we can't surpass those that come in here that are immigrants, or those that come in here without learning the language or understand how to write the language? So every time that I see black people arguing amongst themselves, it's just a sign of the systematic, illogical thinking that is plagued upon us, and that it continues. So how can we wake you guys up to say, hey, whatever we're doing, whatever we're eating, whatever we're drinking, whatever we're consuming is destroying us? How do you get that message across? How do you recreate a community that was always damaged from the beginning? How can you build from the ground up? I challenge the men, because when we look at building the foundation, we can't depend on women to lay the bricks. So, am I for women or am I for men? I would assume I'm for both. And that's what we're talking about, this destruction, this constant plague where we're constantly fighting and arguing and we're not doing anything. We're not taking back those communities. We're not opening up stores. We're not educating people. And for those, the ones that are, they're not coming back. They're not going to reinvest because they're tired of the BS. They're tired of the nonsense. And that's what I've been gathering over the last couple of days, is that there are brothers and sisters out there that are just tired of the nonsense. They really believe there's no black community. And when you look at it, and if we look at it for face value, we have to say that they're right. This destruction has been going on way too long, and neither I or anyone else want to be a part of it. So how do we unite and say, okay, I don't like the way things are. I don't like this community. How can we make it better? Those are the conversations that I would like to see. We have all these smart brothers and sisters, but there's no conversation of how to unite or what are some of the solutions. Should we get better education? Should we get better parenting? Is there a way to incorporate some of the things that other cultures have been doing? Or are we just going to cry about it and say, okay, this is what so and so is doing to me? I can't get a job because we don't own any corporations. From my experience, if we look at a race, the person that did me the most harm has been people that look like me. I try to survive in this community, this destructive community, in which they would starve me out because they don't support the business that I'm running in the community. They don't support the fact that if the person I hire is going to be someone that looks like me. They don't support that. So would I look at it from a biased point of view? No, I just would look at it from a point that that's what happened to me. And if it happened to me, I'm sure it happened to a lot of different other people out there. So this constant destruction. And the funny thing about it is just that when you go on YouTube, there's people that attack the black woman. And you know what? They have valid points. Then the women goes and says, hey, there are black men that are doing this. And when you look at the women's point of view, they're right. So all you see is arguing, bitching, and moaning. Kind of like the same principles when a black man gets shot by the police. We're always crying, we're always arguing, we're always marching, we're always looking for justifications. We're looking for this dependent nature to say, hey, America, save us. Hey, look what you guys are doing to us. Somebody please save us. And at some point, you're going to realize that no one is coming. No one is coming to save you because you want to destroy your own community and fight amongst each other. Every time you fight one another, it's going to be the same struggle, same situation years to come. This has been going on for 300 years. And you guys just can't get the message. It's not written on the wall. Do you want me to spell it out for you? If somebody drew a plan for you guys and you follow that plan, you are programmed. But I'm just preaching to the choir. No one actually hears me. Well, you hear me, but you're not listening. This destructive behavior needs to stop. I don't care if a woman has 3 baby daddies. Those baby daddies are not taking care of the children. Oh, but then they use the excuse that says, hey, you're raising the children. No. Once that baby is born, there's a responsibility for both male and female to raise that child the best way they can. There is no there is no one person raising a child. That child's going to lack something. If the mother raised that child by herself, that child's going to lack something. If the man raised that child by himself, that child's going to lack something. You are competing in a world in which every other culture and race is dominating their race because they understand the dynamics. They understand the basic economics of supply and demand, the basic understanding of family, the basic understanding of legacy. Do you want someone to lead you? Are you sure? Do you want someone that looks like you to lead you? Or are you looking for someone else to lead you? That is the destructive behavior. You're waiting for a savior that does not look like you. I just don't get it. Other races are unapologetic because they believe their behavior is right. It's the natural order of things. If you go to a job and the next person standing next to you looks like the person that's giving the interview, most likely the other person is going to get the job because they take care of each other. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to continue to be the weakest link in society in America, then we're going to get picked off one by one. Doesn't matter if you making $1 million or if you're a pro football player or if you're a prominent doctor in the neighborhood, whatever it is, you're going to get picked off one by one. At some point, you need to take responsibility for your community. What are some of the signs of a black community? I can go all day and tell about the bad things that happen in the black community. How people are throwing trash out their car because they don't want their car dirty. But that's the cycle. Sooner or later, I say something bad or some of this destructive behavior, people will get upset because they love fighting and chaos amongst each other. But sooner or later, someone that doesn't look like you steps on your foot, you're happy to pay them for that. But if I step on your foot, you want to kill me. This nonsense behavior. I'll give you another example of this idiotic behavior. The lawyer for the woman that was killed by the police. Oh, he's a race baiter, or he has his hand out because he's ambulance chaser. That's what it's called. They call him an ambulance chaser. So what? Being a lawyer is a dirty job. But you rather have someone that doesn't look like him taking the money? These are some of these destructive behaviors. But I don't want to shit on black men and black women when there's a bigger enemy out there. 300 years of stuff has been going on. And we let our brothers and sisters have to deal with the fallout of our failure because nothing we do will change this. What are some of the solutions? My solution is this. It's like you see someone, let's take an insurance agent. And you talk to an insurance agent and you're like, wow, I can do that. And you know what? considering that person's level of expertise and the way you think, it's like, wow, I can do that. Do we have to live in a society like America? Yes. Yes, with all America's flaws, this is actually a country that we helped build, so we have every right to be here. So, how do you curb this destructive behavior? We have to change our thinking. There's chaos going on in Hong Kong. And if you look at, go online and look at the Hong Kong, what's going on in Hong Kong, they're a part of China, but they unite. Do they need a leader? Sure, they need a leader, but they're all fighting for a common goal, a better tomorrow, to raise our sons and daughters, for them to raise their sons and daughters in a better environment where we're not constantly being the victims of everything. If I was an African that came over here, I don't want to be associated with you guys either. Because they don't have to deal with the same system that we have to deal with day in and day out. But we use that as an excuse. It's not that we're lazy, this stuff actually happens, but when you don't create an environment that a person can be proud to stand tall, you're going to have that type of reaction. But if you create an environment where being black is the most high, an African will be proudly to come and say, yeah, that's right, because we know we have each other's back. You think Africans don't work together? That's what they're going to do. They come over here, they're going to work together. But we've been here the longest, and over 300 years, we're still suffering. We're suffering because we believe that we're captive in our own mind. So we have to think above that. So if you guys have any solutions out there, that would be wonderful. But I would suggest that we kind of we take a corporation approach and try to measure how we're doing being a corporation, owning communities instead of being just in the community. When we take ownership, then we're going to have a pride and we're going to have a responsibility to enforce that code, enforce that behavior. It's sad that you can walk inside your home and have different rules, but once you walk outside, there's another set of rules because your community is jacked up. Anyway, I'm Bonham to the top. I hope this will be inspiring and inspire those to say, hey, let's stop arguing and stop fighting amongst each other and actually have some better solutions out there. Work together, invest, pull your resources together, invest, have some money come back to you. Have the higher ups spend their money instead of us spending their money. I'm out.